The lawyer's voice was steady, measured, the kind of tone people use when they know the next sentence will shift the air in the room. My wife sat 2 chairs away, legs crossed. Smile polite, but sharpened. She hadn't looked at me once since we walked in. The will reading was halfway through. Stocks, real estate, foundations, all spoken like numbers, not lives. Then I heard it. And to my son-in-law. Her head turned so slowly it could have been rehearsed. The polite smile was gone. Her lips parted, just enough to show the first crack in her control. I didn't move, didn't blink. The lawyer kept speaking, but my attention was locked on her eyes. It wasn't surprise I saw. It was panic. 2 months earlier, she'd said it in passing. We were in the kitchen. I'd mentioned her father's health, the long drives to the hospital. She laughed, not warmly, not kindly. "Don't expect a dime from my dad's $92 million, all right? You're not even in his will." I'd let it slide, at least outwardly. Her father and I had always been cordial, but distant. We weren't the type to talk about feelings, or money. Still, something in the way she said it stuck with me, like she needed me to believe it. And when the phone call came from the lawyer, requesting my presence at the reading, her reaction was wrong. She didn't argue about me going, didn't ask why they wanted me there, just said she was sure it was a formality. Her tone was too even, too practiced. It was then I began to wonder what exactly she'd been keeping from me. I started watching her more closely, not openly, just enough to map the patterns. Late-night phone calls she took in the hallway, bank statements arriving at the house, then vanishing before I could touch them. The day she came home smelling faintly of a man's cologne that wasn't mine. I didn't confront her. That would have been messy, premature. Instead, I started with the lawyer's office. A quiet call, disguised as curiosity. The secretary hesitated before saying, "Sir, I can't discuss details, but you should be there." That was enough to know it wasn't a formality. I went further, checked property records under her maiden name, found a trust in her father's name, recently altered. And then the strange transfer, 2 weeks before he died, to an account I didn't recognize. Her account. I didn't touch the money, didn't need to. I just took screenshots, printed documents, and stored them where she'd never think to look. By the time we arrived at the will reading, I already knew my name would be in it. What I didn't know was how much she'd underestimated me. 50% of my liquid assets, the lawyer said, his voice carrying in the oak-paneled room, to my son-in-law for his loyalty and care during my final years. Silence. Her hand gripped the armrest so tightly her knuckles blanched. I felt the shift in the room. Everyone else looked between us, sensing the fracture they didn't understand. She finally spoke, whispered really. This isn't right." The lawyer adjusted his glasses. "These are your father's explicit wishes. He amended the will 3 weeks before he passed. He asked me to ensure his son-in-law received exactly what was due." Her face drained of color. She knew. Not just about the money, about what else I'd found. I leaned forward, voice low enough for only her to hear. He knew about the transfers, about the other account, about the man you've been meeting at the Blue Terrace. Her eyes flicked toward me, sharp and glassy. "You? I didn't tell him. He found out himself. That's why this is happening. He wanted me to have what you tried to take before you could bury it." I straightened in my chair, as calm as I'd been the whole morning. Her breathing grew uneven. She tried to look away, but I caught her gaze and held it there. She couldn't speak without revealing herself to the room, couldn't accuse without confessing. When the session ended, I stood, thanked the lawyer, and walked out without waiting for her. She followed a few steps before stopping. I didn't turn back. Outside, the air was brittle with winter. The city sounded far away. The money wasn't what mattered, not really. What mattered was the quiet, the stillness after years of subtle dismissals, veiled insults, and carefully hidden lies. Her father hadn't given me the inheritance to enrich me. He'd given it to me to expose her, to force her to watch as the one thing she thought she controlled slipped from her hands without a fight. I walked to my car, started the engine. Through the windshield, I saw her step out of the building, searching for me. I didn't wave, didn't slow. Some victories aren't loud. Some don't need an audience. I just drove away, leaving her in the cold with nothing but her reflection to keep her company. And that was worth far more than $92 million.